Yeah, because you started in 2015, didn't you? Your
Yeah.
psychotherapy.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
graduated in 2015. Yeah, I finished the training. So it's a 2 years master's, and then you hopefully try and find work after it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
did you get work? Were you lucky enough to get work straight away, or was it like a little while until you actually got into the proper world of it?
Unfortunately, I found grief encounter straight away.
Mm,
So as soon as I graduated, yeah, I found grief encounter quite immediately after, actually. So I graduated in July, and then I started working for Grief Encounter in September
mm,
of the same year. Yeah.
brilliant. And was it like a kind of shock to you? Was it completely different to you what you expected in terms of going from say university to actually the real world of actually doing it? Were you like really fully prepared and gone for that transition from uni to work?
I don't think you're ever fully prepared. I don't think I'm ever fully prepared now, and it's like 7 years in. But so yeah, I think it was completely different. I think at university, I mean, you're still on placement, so you are seeing clients, but there was almost a hold in there
Mm,
from the department, from the lecturers, from the tutors, from being on placement and working with other professionals. There was definitely a safety and a containment that you found from university. And then for me, with Grief Encounter in particular, it's an amazing organization, charity to work for. But you're very much, especially if you're a therapist there, you're very much kind of working on your own.
mm.
You do meet with the other staff members, but that's usually on trainings, staff meeting days, and they don't happen often. Again, they do provide supervision, which was another kind of holding as well. But yeah, you're very much on your own, trying to work everything out and find your own therapeutic voice, which is quite difficult.
Yeah. I mean, how was it for you working by yourself for the most part? Was it quite difficult for you, or did you find it all right after a little while of getting used to it?
Yeah, I think I think I found it quite challenging actually at the beginning.
Mm,
It can feel quite isolating, and being a newly qualified therapist, I think you often think well, shit, am I
yeah.
doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Am I saying the right thing to these clients? Am I doing the right thing? And I think coming from that academic kind of background in terms of being held at university and taking all your anxieties and communicating them with your peers and your tutors and figuring things out together, then having to do that alone, I think that was a real shift and a real challenge for me.
Yeah.
um but but I kind of realized if I needed that help, I could reach out to my supervisor, communicate with him. So yeah, again, I was really fortunate to have a really good supervisor with Grief Encounter, which yeah alleviated some of that, yeah,
That's
worry on
fantastic.
anxiety.
Yeah. Are you still there now, 6 years later? A good
I
thing
am. I'm
counter.
still there
Yeah.
60 later. They can't get rid of
Brilliant.
me. Yeah. So yeah, I've always had. Well, I've kind of always had this kind of obsession, in a way, with grief. Sounds strange, but it's around, isn't it?
Hmm.
And it's always there. It's part of being human, and it's something that really connects us. So I think I'll always be there in a weird way. I think it's so I'm self-employed for them, so I get to pick my hours and things like that. And my
Mm.
roles slightly shifted from the beginning. I'm now more in the supervisor role, so I
Okay.
supervise therapists, and see less clients, but I do a lot more group work,
Yeah.
in terms of grief groups.
Okay.
So yeah, I love it. I think I'll still be there for a very long time until they
Brilliant.
want to get rid of me.
I mean, being self-employed, is it more like a kind of like a flexi timetable, like you work when you need to or when you can, or do you still need to like stick to like a regular schedule each and every day?
Yeah, so it being self-employed has its perks and its downfalls, I suppose, as well. Always in every kind of industry, but
Yeah.
in terms of picking my timings and things like that, yes, I do get to do that. I have that privilege of being able to do that, but also on the flip side, not a privilege, because I guess I don't know, I guess you put more pressure on yourself to see more clients or do more things, and because you've got that flexibility, I don't know, we can be our own worst enemies, can't we, sometimes?
Of
And
course.
yeah, so but because I see clients, and within therapy there is a very traditional form of seeing a client at a specific time on a specific day every week, or fortnightly, but you have to stick to that timing. So I don't tend to shift my clients around at all. So when I have started with a client, they will have that same time on that same day with me until we
Okay.
finish.
Yeah. And do you do more one-to-one basis or groups or a mix of both? How do you tend to work with your clients?
Yeah, so I do a lot of one-to-one therapy. I have done family therapy as well in the past, couples therapy, group therapy, and they're all kind of special in their own unique way. So I guess it depends on what's going on in that individual's life and what they're trying to get from therapy, and what they want from it. Yeah.
And your time at university, did they train you for, was it more specialized, say, like more on a one-to-one basis, or did they train you for both as well, like one-to-one couples and families and groups?
Yeah, so I guess with my MA, the good thing about the art therapy MA, it was you weren't restricted to who you wanted to work with. So you weren't restricted in terms of one-to-one therapy, whether you wanted to work with adults or children or elderly. So yeah, I guess I got a taster of everything. So so I worked with children at a primary school on my first placement, and we did one-to-one and we did group there. So I got an insight onto that, and then I did an inpatient ward again, which was, again, it gave me access to that kind of group therapy, open studio kind of therapy approach, and one-to-one. So yeah, it was great to be able to.
Yeah. And do you tend to work with, say, a minimum age of, say, like 5 onwards, or is it like literally any age you tend to work with?
Yeah. So personally, for me, I would say about 5 onwards. And that is probably me, and me putting that age on myself. And I guess for me, that's more about me thinking about the individuals, the child that might come into therapy, what their understanding is of therapy, and obviously developmentally, their understanding is very limited, apart from my meeting this person once a week and we do some art together. But I definitely think that therapy has to be, I guess you have to consent in a way, and I find it quite difficult when a child doesn't really consent to it. But then I totally understand that the parents or guardians or carers or other professionals need to intervene and make sure that that child has the right support around them. But yeah, so I tend to go with 5 onwards.
And like you said, is it more like, how do you get the kids to consent? Is it more the parents, like you said, or do they, once you explain what actually therapy actually is and the benefits of it, do they fully understand what you're actually trying to do, and then they consent to it after a while, or are they still slightly confused?
It's difficult. So it will have to be a carer or guardian, that will need to consent to the therapy. I would have like an assessment with the guardian, carer, or and the child. And thereafter we would get like that consent from them. But I tried to make it quite clear to that child what it is, so just in a language that they will understand. So to give them that, I guess, to give them that choice, do they want to be here? Do they want, does it feel like the right time for them, but in a way that feels like they can understand.
And what kind of, you said about assessments as well, what kind of assessments and kind of pre-tests do you do before you actually begin your therapy with these students at such a young age? What kind of things do you actually do beforehand to make sure that everything's okay?
Yeah, so through Grief Encounter, that's pretty much done like as an organization together.
Yeah.
And through private practice, I have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an assessment sheet where we kind of go through all risk factors of therapy, and we get a lot of information about the individual's background and history, and what brings them to therapy, if they're on any other kind of medication, if they've ever sought therapy in the past, and what sort of therapy. Has it worked, has it not worked, and just to figure out where they are at and whether this is the right time for them, and what brings them right now into therapy right now.
Yeah.
That's sort of my checks before we start sessions. And then I kind of create a formulation after and think about whether it will be like once a week, whether it will be beneficial for me to see them fortnightly, and especially of their age. If they're 5 years old, we've got to really think about how much they're able to sit in a session. Traditionally, psychotherapy sessions and art psychotherapy sessions are 50 minutes. But if you're with a 5-year-old, I mean, their attention span is a lot less than an adult. So you really have to adjust a session in terms of their needs.
Of course.
So yeah, creating that formulation that meets that individual after an assessment is really important.
Yeah. And is each assessment completely different depending on the age, or are they fairly similar depending on who you're working with?
I have like a standard kind of form of questions, but I adapt my language in terms of whoever enters my room and my space. I have, we've got to be really careful and mindful how we sound to individuals. I guess how much, not to throw too much jargon at them, and for it to be really clear, and for people to really understand. Because for a lot of people, they, unless you've been fortunate enough to think about therapy, or to have a family member, or really fortunate upbringing to think about people openly talking about therapy, I think it could be quite tricky space to enter with no knowledge of it. And I guess being able to prepare an assessment for someone that will really understand and will feel really safe in that space is so important.
Definitely.
So yeah, I pretty much go through my questions, but I adapt them in terms of whoever enters my space.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And do you tend to work with a certain client for a certain amount of time, say 6 weeks, or do you tend to work with them for as long as they need to get the full benefits of what you're actually doing with them?
Yeah. So I think typically for the NHS, I think they offer, and depending with what you are coming to a therapist for, I think they usually offer 6 sessions, which is the kind of traditional form of the NHS work. But I think that the perks of private therapy, I think I don't put a time in on it. I treat every session and every individual in terms of their needs. So I tend to not go in, especially privately, I tend to not go in with a time limit. Sometimes it will be 6 sessions and that'd be great. Sometimes it could be, gosh, I've been seeing clients for about 4 years. And
wow.
And yeah, it just depends. And I think therapy is similarly, I guess we're always changing as individuals, and everything that we bring to therapy, everything kind of shifts from childhood to adolescence to adulthood to where you are at. So yeah, so it can literally depend on the individual. With Grief Encounter, they only offer 30 sessions, but it depends, and that's quite a lot of sessions for a charity. So yeah, it for me, I hate putting a time limit on therapy because you just never know.
Exactly.
You never know.
Yeah. And 4 years though with one person, that's a lot of work, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah. that has been one of my longest piece of work with that individual. But I think, again, it depends on what they're coming to you with, and if there has been trauma, that you have to tread so gently and take your time and make sure that that individual feels safe, and that therapeutic relationship is a trusting one, so between me and them, and that can take a while. That can really take a while to begin to start. So yeah, 4 years, but it's so amazing being part of our clients' journeys. I think we've got such a great job, and it's all thanks to our clients to be able to share their life with us and talk to us and share their journeys.
But going back to actually the kind of face-to-face and also Zoom as well, I was actually talking to Michelle Ackley, who's a good friend of mine, who's an amazing TV presenter. We were both talking about obviously what people are like online and in face-to-face as well. And we're actually saying that some people actually prefer, say, online because they might be in the surround of their own house, they can wear what they want, they're very comfortable. And did you realize that some people who might be very introverted before were actually more comfortable online, and vice versa, or that they were more comfortable being face-to-face with you to do their work? Did you realize that as well when you're doing the work?
Yeah, it's so, you know, that's such a, I mean, it's so true. We are in our comforts when we are online. Well, it really depends on your circumstances, doesn't it? Because home doesn't always represent safety. And actually, for a lot of clients, going to see your therapist and taking that journey outside of your home, that is safety. And that's a different environment. It really depends on what is going on, again, for that individual's life, you know. But for a lot of my clients, I did notice that shift. They were definitely a lot more comfortable. There was teas in the room, definitely a lot of tea, definitely a lot of coffee, a lot of chewing on biscuits, which you think, oh gosh, what do I do here with a therapeutic boundary? Yeah. And it's like, you sometimes you can kind of try and say, you know, this is just like what it would be like if you were with me. But yeah, there were definitely, it's that, what do they call it? I've forgotten the word for it, but it's basically, it's a safety, isn't it? That screen, there's that distance between you and the other person. So I guess it's that space, that in-between space where you can almost role play as well. You can perform. It's, you know, there's a camera on you, you can perform, you can downplay something, you can pretend that you're really confident in what you're addressing or the issue, because I don't know, there's no, you're not sharing the same air and you're not in that space. And I guess for us therapists, we also really rely on that body language and sensing what someone, you know, what someone's saying and what words they're using, is it really matching up to what their body's telling me in that space? But we can't see anything from, you know, from head to shoulders now. So
I just have to say, actually,
I mean, it's so difficult.
I mean, like, sometimes when you're working with them, then, because, like I said earlier, it's so difficult to actually see what. Oh, sorry, my phone's going off. Sorry. But like I said earlier, it might be so difficult for you to work to actually read their body language, because you see like their shoulders and above. I mean, sometimes do you even like say get them to say stand back and move back and say, okay, stop your work so I can see your whole body from there, or do you kind of have to kind of work around it and just do work from here and above if you can?
Luckily for me, because obviously I am a creative therapist, I think we do use our bodies in our sessions, whether it's online or not, and we've had to really start getting creatively we just had to creatively adapt to what we've got. And at the moment we've just got our screen, so I do it, depending on the individual, I kind of say, get up, bring me an object in the space that you're in that you feel connected with, and then they will kind of walk around their space, their room. I get to see a bit more about them, and then I get to see an object. And that's really interesting, because actually in therapy we tend to say nothing leaves the therapy room and nothing enters it apart from the person.
Yeah.
So being in your own space, I guess I think for a lot of us, we started thinking, right, well, let's use this now. Let's use the space that these clients are in, their home space, and let them bring something that they want to bring in that can bring that comfort. Let's see how their bodies respond to this space. Let's see something more than their head and shoulders, basically.